in this town where people are coming together. Sometimes they don't have much choice. They've all been invited to a banquet at the palace. They all know each other. They're part of this group of ulama. That Qunawi and Rumi never seem to talk about each other in their books. And that, again, has to be left as a kind of mystery, but perhaps not quite a mystery, because they do have different paths. So when Rumi, as he often does in his poetry, says, put down the text of theology and pick up the flagon of love, the kind of trope that he uses frequently. Or, by the time intellect has saddled its camel for the Hajj, love has already circled the Kaaba. He says the real way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through the heart, through love, through affectivity. That's, for him, the prophetic way. That's the way of Habibullah alayhi salam, not logic or all of this other stuff or profound meditations on different layers in Allah's book. It's love, spontaneity. For Rumi, that's what religion is about. And perhaps that's one reason why in our generation, certainly in the West, Rumi is the one who's been tweezed out of this extraordinary constellation of brilliant minds in Konya, and he's the one who the New Age people like, because everybody likes to think that they know about love. And everybody likes to use love as an excuse not to perform certain duties or as an excuse not to read too many complex books of theology. It's an attractive excuse. But this is not really what's going on with these people. Rumi is not saying that the path of the mind, that's Urmawi's path, or the path of systematic Sufi metaphysics, which is the way of the Sufis like Sadruddin, are wrong. Instead, he's saying, that's not my way, and I am something else. Now, what was this something else? How does he become? He's clearly within the class of ulama. He's not a controversial figure, even though he says things that sometimes seem outrageous. Nowadays, if you said half of the things that he says in his diwan, you'd be chucked out of your average masjid. But that doesn't happen with the Qadi and the great scholars of the day, because they hear him. But what makes Rumi is an encounter with a remarkable man who is the fourth of the many people one could talk about. In fact, I haven't mentioned Fakhruddin Iraqi, who is living in the same house as Sadruddin Qunawi, along with a number of other quite extraordinary people, Mu'ayyaduddin Jandi, huge names, particularly in the evolution of Persian literature. Fakhruddin Iraqi, through his Lama'at and other texts, conveys the essence, as he takes it, of Ibn Arabi's system, mediated in large measure through the lens of Qunawi to the Persian-speaking world. And from the Persian-speaking world, it spreads very quickly to the Indian world and becomes the famous controversies at the time of Akbar and Aurangzeb. All of that comes from what's happening in the house that Qunawi and Jandi and Farghani are sharing in a suburb of Konya. But none of these people have that effect on Rumi. So Rumi has left his own town, Balkh, at the age of 12. And they end up here, which they hoped was a safe distance from the marauding Buddhist terrorists of the Mongols. And the Seljuks were kind of tough warriors, Turks, soldiers, spent much of their time on horseback pulling impossibly stiff bows. They were tough guys, the Seljuks. After all, these are the people who've defeated the Byzantines. So if you're a peripatetic scholar, you kind of figure out that a place like Konya is pretty safe, because this guy, the Paravane, Sultan Alauddin Kayqubad, these are people who are not pussycats. They're going to put up a fight. Rumi is here and is an exoteric scholar and teaches hadith and teaches kalam, and he knows that, and he is really, again, mutabahir, and is respected on that level by these great people here in Konya, and has many students of his own. And as we'll see later on, it's because of what happens between Rumi and Shams that the students, why does he have students already? And why do they love him so much? Because of what he was before. And before Shams turns up, he is in the hands spiritually of another strange, mysterious person called Burhan ad-Din Muhaqqiq Tirmidhi. Now, as Tirmidhi, his name suggests, he's also from what's now Uzbekistan. He's from the east, but he's a more enigmatic Sufi type, a wanderer. But the key moment in Rumi's career is when he moves from Tirmidhi's tutelage into this very strange relationship that he has with Shamsi Tabriz. Now again, the tourist guides here will tell you, the Ministry of Tourism will sometimes tell you, any New Age guff about the religion of love will tell you that what Shams is an antinomian figure. That's the kind of standard narrative, and even some of the Orientalists like Nicholson have adopted this view. That Rumi is this orthodox doctor of the law doing incredibly boring things with the divine attributes, and then Shams comes along as a kind of hippie with a flower straight from Woodstock, and immediately they will start rocking and rolling, and that's why we Westerners like Rumi. Hold on here, because we actually know what Shams was about, because we have his book, Maghalat, which has been studied by a number of Western scholars recently, and which is an amazing powerhouse, visionary text, which shows that actually this guy wasn't a hippie, antinomian, kind of Sharia-light dervish, but in fact was a good deal more serious than that. And it's very unlikely that somebody as orthodox and straight as Rumi in this orthodox, straight Sunni city like Konya could have been immediately sort of waylaid into a New Age cult. That really doesn't happen. These people are disciplined and trained to recognize truth from error.